Welcome to another Q&A. This one was requested and we've got some juicy questions incoming, like my favorite ship, have I ever changed Old Pies? Traitor? And who I think are some underrated groups. Let's get started. So I asked people on TikTok if they had some K-pop related questions for me, so I could do a K-pop related Q&A. They had some questions, some really good ones. And I will answer those now. And you can totally tell me what your answers to these questions would be. There's like somewhere between 10 and 15, and some of them are really quick. Let's get into it. The first question is the best song to sing and or dance to. So if you want to sing and dance, I think that BTS's Permission to Dance is a really good and easy option because it's not very challenging to sing. Like, it's not super high, it's not super low, it's not super fast, it's not super slow. You don't need massive chops to sing this song pretty well, and the dance is not super demanding. So if you want to do that all together, that's definitely a good option. There are other songs that are great options though. If you want to just dance and you want to learn a dance that just looks freaking cool, I can definitely recommend BTS On or Black Swan. Those are some really cool dances if you want to sing and you want to show off your singing chops. I would go with something like The Truth Untold for sure, or like Louder Than Bombs, something like that. Like, bring on the drama, bring it all on. Also, look at my nice little floaty sleeves. I am obsessed. I filmed the cover for Spring Day before this, and that's why I'm dressed up a little more differently than I might usually be. Like, this is not a conventional outfit for me. And it has floaty sleeves. Who's my old bias? BTS's Jimin. My favorite groups. I want to preface this with saying I'm not a huge girl group stan because usually, admittedly, I prefer female artists as solo artists, though I do still like groups like Little Mix, so it's not exclusively like that. So groups that I really enjoy are BTS, the Stray Kids, Mamamoo. I feel like Mamamoo is the only K-pop girl group that I really listen to a lot and that I really enjoy as a whole, like their entire discography. I have done a little bit of a dive into other girl groups, but I've never really been quite convinced that I want to stand them, not because they're not good, because just I couldn't get into their music. Maybe I just haven't found the right songs yet. I'll totally admit to that. I also like Stray Kids. I enjoy listening to TXT and 17, The Rose. Can't forget The Rose. I like listening... groups. I was going to say IU, but I like listening to IU even though she's not a group. SHINee. I really like listening to SHINee too. And ATEEZ. How could I almost forget ATEEZ. Love ATEEZ. As for some underrated groups, there was a question if I think there are underrated groups that deserve more attention. There definitely are. There are always groups that are underrated and that are really good, but that don't really take off the way some other groups do. And sometimes there are things that can explain that, like marketing and concepts, maybe oversaturation. Other times it just feels like a in-the-moment luck kind of thing. I feel like at this point, a group that is definitely still underrated is X-Love. A friend of mine put me onto them, and now I adore them. They're so cute, and they're so gorgeous. And their styling is always, and makeup is always so on point. Like, I get so inspired by them. I can't do it myself, but I'm so inspired. And I really enjoy them, and I think their music too, not just all the other stuff. I think they're still kind of underrated, but I feel like they're slowly gaining momentum, and it's only going to be a matter of time before they really, really blow up. I hope they do. They deserve it. I feel like it would be a really good thing for K-pop too, and for the very misogynistic and in certain aspects hateful Korean culture. I don't want to say in the LGBTQ plus way, because I don't know, and I don't think any of the members have specified their specific gender identity and or their sexuality, but I feel like South Korea is not very accepting in that regard yet. And X-Love definitely attracts a crowd in that direction a lot more than the strict, straight traditionalists. And I think it would be really good for the culture if they really blew up and if Korea became more accepting. Because we need all the love we can get, okay? No more hate, just love. Their name is X-Love, so makes sense. My favorite dancers, Jimin and Yeonjun. Could watch those two forever. There are a lot of incredible dancers in K-pop, and just because I'm not naming anybody else than those two here doesn't mean that there aren't dozens of others who are absolutely deserving of being called one of the best K-pop dancers. My favorite rappers, Yoongi from BTS and Changbin from Stray Kids. The first K-pop group I ever listened to, oh my gosh. Oh, BTS. The first K-pop song I ever listened to was Gangnam Style, like probably the entire rest of the world. But the first group that I listened to and that started all of this, goodness, back in 2021 was BTS. I remember being curious because I was doing language tutoring at that time and a student of mine was a huge fan. I remember being like, oh, maybe I'll do a deep dive on them, see what it's all about. I've heard their name before. Then I watched some videos. It started out with, I think one of the first ones was Dynamite, and I was like, nah, I'm not convinced. But then others came along, like On, the Kinetic Manifesto film, and Black Swan, and Fake Love, and the likes, and I was like, okay. And I was like, eventually, I'll just learn their names. The famous last words of every K-pop stan. Yeah, that was in 2021. That was my first group that I listened to. And I would say musically is still the group that I listen to the most, definitely. Have I ever changed my old bias? The thing is, when I got into K-pop, for a really long time, it was almost exclusively BTS. Like, I was aware and I occasionally listened to some other K-pop groups too, but I didn't really have a bias or I didn't really know much of the members' names of other groups. For a long time for me, there was no other option than BTS anyways. That has changed over the last few years, I would say, but my old bias is still BTS member. So originally, the first old bias I had was actually JK. Yes, that's how it started out. Then that was all in really quick succession. Then came Yoongi. And then it was like Jimin arrived in front of me being like, oh, hello, actually, I'm your bias. Continue on with your day. That was like 4 years ago. Such is the life of a K-pop stan. For me, it's always been like this with biases within groups. Because even though Jimin is my old bias, has been for a really long time, I do have biases in other groups too. I never get to choose the bias. I might, in the beginning, be like, yeah, I think maybe this guy is going to be my bias. It often doesn't end up like that because they have their own minds and they're like, actually, I'm your bias. Hello there. Where else has that happened? I feel like in ATEEZ, my bias, I would say, is probably Songhwa. But originally, I thought it would be San. I love San. He's so adorable. But Songhwa is kind of more my bias. I think Hongjoong was probably also on my list before that. Like, he could be dangerous to me. But in the end, and Mingi too. But in the end, it was quiet Songhwa just sneaking in there and being like, hello, I'm your bias, actually. What else was it, like TXT? I'm not sure if I had a TXT bias originally. I don't think I thought I would have one. But then Yeonjun was like, actually, I think I'm your bias. Have a nice day. I feel like the only group where I just kind of have always known and where it hasn't changed in the 2 to 3 years that I've listened to them is Stray Kids, where I would say that my biases are Bangtan and Hyunjin. That was also not really a conscious decision on my behalf. They just showed up with red lights one day and collected me for the cause. And that was it. That was it. I love all the Stray Kids. Those two just... yeah. Who knows really what they did. They put something in red lights. I just can't figure out what it is. But to conclude this section, because I could talk about biases forever, my alt bias is Jimin. And I have a lot of other biases too. For some reason, I feel like I only really have biases in the boy groups. In the girl groups, I'm like, yes, queen, all of them. But in the boy groups, I don't know. Maybe I haven't done a deep dive enough into girl groups to have biases in them. Or maybe I'm just too much of a, like, all queens must win kind of person to really favor one of them over the other. I don't know. My favorite music video, Black Swan. It's so beautiful. And Jimin's contemporary dancing in it is just... it's so stunning. I could watch that man dance forever in 2 days. And I still wouldn't be tired of it. Same with Yunjin, in a different way. I feel like they both move like water, but also in very different ways. It's fascinating. Fascinating. I love watching dancers. The next question is a loaded one. Who do I ship? Who do I ship? Well, the thing for me is I don't really actually ship anybody. I ship them as friends, as besties, as siblings, as family. Because I feel like shipping the way some people do it is so toxic and uncomfortable for the idols too. Sometimes you can see how uncomfortable it is for them, and I never want to make them feel uncomfortable. However, if I have to pick one ship, tongue-in-cheek and with a lot of grains of salt, okay? Don't take this too seriously. It would be Stray Kids' Lino and Han. What am I supposed to do? I feel like they kind of low-key be offended if I didn't ship them. Like, they ship each other. What am I supposed to do then? I'm supposed to be like, no. We cannot partake in that. We cannot support you guys in shipping. I'll take it all humorously, but those two, I love them. They're so funny. Oh, they're adorable. It's so cute. So if I had to pick one ship, it would be that one. I'm gonna just sail with that one. The last question I got is, who would I love to collab with? Oh, the list is long. I would say that a very obvious answer for me would be The Rose. I love The Rose. I'm not sure if I mentioned them earlier in my favorite groups to listen to, but they are one of my favorites. I love their music. My favorite song is Beauty and the Beast. I feel like that would be one of the collaborations that would be really easy. Like, really easy to work out, to figure out. They write their own music. They play their own instruments. That's Bing Bang Boom done. Finito. Got it. And that would be really cool. Also, they seem like such chill dudes. Like, hardworking, definitely, and driven, but such chill dudes. I would love that. Oh my gosh. Another obvious answer is BTS. The thing is, I feel like there are some members with whom my voice maybe wouldn't work. I feel like Jin is maybe not the one my voice would work with. Maybe Taeyong too. And here's the thing. So I write all my own music. I write it and produce it. And I don't think I could do a collaboration with somebody who does not partake in any of the songwriting. And both JK and Taeyong did not partake in any of the songwriting for the solo project. So I feel like that wouldn't work very well with how I approach music work. I could write a song for them, but I would not do a collaboration with them, I think, because I just want that to be a story that we tell together, whatever that story might be. Therefore, I think those three probably wouldn't be ideal for me to actively collaborate with, as in a song that both of us sing. That's what I mean with collaborate with. And I think that's what's meant with collaborating with. The other members, the rap line and Jimin. Oh, I didn't realize it would be the rap line and just the rap line and Jimin. Okay. I feel like it could work. I don't know how well my voice would work with Jimin's. That would be something to figure out, but I feel like the rap line is a really safe bet. I do think my voice would work quite well with JK's sound-wise, but yeah. Those are all just obviously speculations and ideas. BTS works on a very different level at this point than I do, so of course a lot of that is just big dreams. Who else would I want to work with? I would kind of like to work with Rosé. I feel like we could make something really beautiful together and we could learn a lot of things from each other. I feel like as a lyrics writer, she still has a good way to go and she could possibly learn some things from me in that regard. But obviously there's also things that I could learn from her. So collaborations can very much be a giving and a taking, and a learning new things from each other or improving on things if you work closely together. Especially for smaller artists or artists who haven't been in the business very long, or artists who are very good in one thing but maybe not as good in another thing. I would always see it as an opportunity like that. And I have seen collaborations as those kinds of opportunities too. In my own life where I've done collabs so far. I would like to see that. I would like to see what could come of that. And the last one I can think of right now, even though I would like collab with half the K-pop industry, is probably Stray Kids members. Oh, that would be so interesting. Like a subunit, collaborating with a subunit of them, or with an individual artist of them. Oh, of course, with the entire group too. Like, we're not picky. They're fantastic. That would be really interesting too. The only reason why I'm not mentioning when I talked about BTS earlier, I wasn't mentioning working with all of BTS is because I think they transcend the point where they're going to do collaborations at this point. They were at that point a few years ago, like Halsey times. I don't think they're going to do it again, except with a really, 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 really large artist or producer. And I'm not there. I would love to work with a K-pop group or K-pop artist someday. I've never worked with one before. I have worked with artists from other continents, other countries. I've worked with a Brazilian artist. I've worked with a British artist. I am ever expanding my horizon and learning new things from other people and with other people, and that's the beauty of collaborating. I have only been into K-pop actively for like 5 years at this point, and there are still a lot of new things that I can learn from that too. A lot of inspiration I can gain from K-pop, in my opinion. I will keep listening to K-pop because I enjoy it. And with that, whether you are ARMY, STAY, Carrot, ATEENY, Blink, whatever you are, look after yourselves. Answer one of those questions in the comments and tell me your K-pop thoughts and your K-pop opinions. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you again soon. Bye! HSA. Awesome.